Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. We're adding games both new and old to your backlog, one slightly inappropriate episode at a time. My name is Amanda, and I am in my Renaissance masterpiece era, baby. Joining me
Ooh.
today is Taylor.
And I have been grinding day after day.
And
I really hear it in your voice. Sorry.
yeah, he sounds exhausted. And also joining me is Christian.
I just watched the first movie from front to back since Mara's been born in 2 years, and I love movies, guys.
Hell yeah. But you're keeping Bobby alive through the movies. I get it. I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm channeling. I am but a vessel, a humble vessel.
Well, this week we're going to be talking about 4 Last Things, Daily Games, and Exit 8. But first, guys, what's new?
Just a heads up right here at the top of the show. I just want to let everyone know I am currently on muscle relaxers. So if I am seemingly very chilled out, that is why. So forgive me if I end up being a little out of it. But what I did want to talk about is the Stop Killing Games initiative. I don't know if you guys have heard about this.
What is it? It's
No.
retro game preservation?
No. So this is
Okay.
is about um, more about online games when their servers are shut down and become no longer playable. This initiative is pushing for legislation that will require developers to release a patch at the end of life of one of those games that will allow it to be continued to be played offline single player.
Well, how
Oh,
would that
interesting.
I think that for a lot of games, like, that would be fantastic, but how would that work with a game that's kind of like an arena shooter or, like, I'm just kind of thinking of, like, a PUBG, something that requires a server
So
for
what
people
they
to
could
join in with.
do is release a patch that allows self-hosted servers, for instance.
Mm,
Sweet. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I think in my mind, it's probably targeted at those games that you have to be connected online to play.
hmm
But
And
what Amanda's saying,
MMOs.
yeah,
Yeah.
for multiplayer games, that is cool. Um, are you one of the 1.3 million signatures, Taylor?
I am. Yes, I did. I did give my signature to it, even though they're primarily currently targeting the European Union.
Right.
But no one on the internet has to know that I don't reside in the European Union.
Ugh, well,
Yeah.
now they do.
You speak Romanche, right?
Yeah.
The Swiss mountain language, I think it's called.
Yeah, they've reached 1.3 million signatures. They're approaching some big milestones in the EU in order to get it in front of the legislature to be talked about and debated. So there's been progress made on this initiative, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where this goes. And I wish them all the success because there's far too many games that have been killed off. And when you think about it, each game that's been killed off like that was somebody's favorite game, and now they can't play it.
Well, I think it's also
Yeah.
too something that like it could help with a modern era because like in the past, you would have it on a CD or cartridge or whatever, what
hmm
have you, and you got to keep that game actually. Whereas now it's way more of like what feels like a renting or subscription model, even when you
Yeah.
buy the game. So you're not really owning the game. But I also can see the other side of it of why like these things can end up still costing a lot of these companies money down the line. And what happens if a studio is gone and no longer has that IP? But I mean, if the self-hosting can work, then that's fine. Because otherwise they would have to still
hmm
keep paying and maintaining this server to
Right.
have
No,
people
it's
on.
totally
But
fair that a
yeah.
game and a studio might not be able to continue the servers indefinitely. No one is arguing with that. What the argument is that they should be able to
To self-host.
modify it to self-host or make it single player or something that won't require their servers or an internet connection necessarily.
I want to preface this by saying I don't really believe it, but um, what if there's too many games and we should kill some of them? Like, what if, like, you know, there was a time in the sun, and that sun is set, and now we say adieu, dear online
Christians
game.
like cull more communities. Yeah, there needs to be a culling. Like we're
There's too many
taking
games. There's too many to play.
some just
Well,
need
we're
to
gonna
take their
keep.
exit, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Chess has gone on too long. Shut the
Yeah.
servers down.
Shut down chess.
hmm
Cool. What's new with me is I saw the Exit 8 movie at the Calgary Underground Film Festival, which is such a cool little indie uh, get together. If you're in Calgary or in Alberta, definitely consider coming downtown and heading to the theater. It's just great vibes all around. Like, these are people who love film and are there to see something early, or a lot of the times the director is in the audience and they'll give a little spiel, or the actors and actresses will be there. It's just a cool environment. And the premise of the Exit 8 movie, it's of course based on the Exit 8 game. And the premise of the game is you walk down a hallway 8 times. Or if you beat the quickest way to beat the game is walk down a hallway 8 times. I mean, there's more to it than that, and I'll talk about that later, because after watching the movie, of course, I had to play the game. But they took this game, which takes maybe 15 minutes to an hour to beat, depending how good you are, and they turned it into an hour and a half movie with a storyline. So there is a guy on a train. He doesn't think he's ready to have a kid, or he doesn't think he's the type of man who would be a good father because he didn't
Mm.
have a father growing up. So it's a story I think a lot of people can relate with. And it just blows my mind. First of all, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's a perfect film. I would say from start to beginning, it's like uh, one of those films that is just such a tightly closed story loop that you're like, it had a perfect ending and a perfect beginning and a perfect middle. What more can you want? 5 out of 5 stars. Uh, but that it's based on a video game and it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. That really blows my mind.
That
Like
must
that,
make it the best video game adaptation ever.
I think that is, if I was on a panel of voters, and I know nothing about movies, so keep that in mind, please. I would put forward that award because, we see these video game adaptations and either they don't nail the source material or it just has like weird or alternate writing a lot of the time. And, or the first season is really good and the second season just didn't cut it for whatever reason. This the game doesn't have any story, so that the movie added all this, but still is incredibly faithful to the game, is just so cool. So, anyways, I highly recommend, even if you haven't played the game, to watch this. But I do actually recommend you play the game before you watch the movie for reasons I'll discuss later.
Real quick, just what was it like watching a movie underground? Like, were the acoustics better down there?
The theater is underground. I don't know if the acoustics are better, but I felt more cozy. So maybe
Mm.
Mm,
there's a cozy factor to this whole thing. So yeah, yeah.
nice.
You didn't
I
expect the theater to actually be underground, did you, Taylor? Did you?
I
Did you?
didn't. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't. I was about to be like, oh, that's
Oh,
funny.
no one expects the underground Calgary film theater. Well, I got you.
No, I'm pretty excited.
This
I've
is
heard
another point
really
in Calgary's favor.
Yeah.
right, yeah. I've heard a lot of really good things actually about Exit 8 already, and it's like on my radar to watch for sure. What's new with me is it was my birthday and I got a fuckload of magic cards for my birthday, which is awesome and so much fun. And I realized how much I absolutely love to organize. I'll spend an entire day just organizing things. I know Christian can relate to this. He's a highly organized person. Do you find such zen and calm in organizing things, Christian? Because I know I do.
Yeah, I think it's a problem. Like when I play a crafting survival game, I'm always like base bitch. Like I'm sweeping the floors and stacking the wood and labeling the containers. And I like doing that. Like
Yeah.
that is fun gameplay for me.
That's why I think you, myself, and I want to say the lotion, longtime community members should never be on a team of just us three. We will never leave the house. We
We're
will
all at
just
the base.
we're all at the base cooking and organizing, and it'll be like this box right here is logs only wood, guys, only wood. We're gonna
Only wood.
label it. We're gonna put a
And
sign
that's
on
all
it.
we have at the base, by the way, because none of us go out. We only
Exactly.
have wood.
But I just really love it. In relation to video games, of what's new though is that Steam is rolling out kind of a beta of an updated design. They're going to kind of revamp their store quite a bit. Um, not
It's in
like
beta right now, right? You can
yeah.
opt in.
Yeah, they're doing like an entire refresh of their design and they're adding in like some new UI elements and things. So just kind of keep an eye open about that and kind of see how it is. You can select to join their client beta if you want to. It's on their like homepage and let them know what they think and those kind of things. So that's kind of cool. I don't really know what we're
I
gonna
have I
be.
have something. I downloaded the beta instantly and tried it. And I was amazed. I was like, this feels so much better. Like I know there's like small changes, but they made a lot of small changes and altogether I was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like to scroll Steam, like
Nice.
instantly. Uh, a couple things that caught my eye. So right now on Steam, the charts at the bottom of the Steam store page feel like a destination you end up. You scroll the store, whatever the algorithm is going to show you, it shows you. And then at the bottom, you get like these charts that are always there. But on the new beta, you still get those charts, but it's endless scroll. The Steam page is an endless scroll. So I think what's
Oh.
going to happen is the charts are going to become far less important to people because they're just going to kind of scroll on by them, and whatever the algorithm feeds them below that is likely what they're going to keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. So, you know, endless scroll is like a famously debated
Hmm.
device to keep your attention on a page. And there's like a gray hat sort of developer mechanism, right? It's not good or bad, but it does have both negative and positive aspects. And yeah, I don't know how I feel about Steam doing that. Not my beloved Steam, not the monopoly storefront for PC video games.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, and this might sound somewhat on the ignorant side, but I don't really want my Steam to feel like Instagram or like all the other social medias where the algorithm heavy
Yeah.
hands feeds you things. Because part of what I love going to Steam is like it's like walking into a zoo and you're like, I don't know what I'm gonna find today. Like I love that. But instead, if it's like, we've noticed that you like art, so we're giving you nothing but dinosaurs and crafting survivals, I'm gonna be like fucking bored.
Right. Yeah.
And
Sometimes the
so
algorithm is too heavy-handed and
Too
it's
good.
not helping me with
I wanna discover.
discoverability.
Mhm.
Well, it's funny that you say that because now the discovery queue is a part of the store, right on the storefront. It's right underneath the like marquee top sellers section that's always on the
Okay.
top of the store. So if you click on that, you go through a discovery queue, and that is supposed to break the algorithm, I think, or it tells you specifically why it's showing you this game. And the games it showed me were pretty obscure for my library. I was like, oh, I remember playing that 3 years ago. So I think it purposefully is trying to break that apart.
I'd
Okay.
And
love to hear
with
it.
that point, I think the discovery queue is probably going to become more important because now it's right on the Steam
Hmm.
store page, right front
Yeah,
and
it was
center.
easy to miss before,
Yeah.
I think
but
everybody should dive into their discovery queues more. You'll find all kinds of weird
Discover.
little nuggets. Go
No,
discover.
they don't need to do that. They listen to this podcast. We are the discovery
we
queue.
are, we are the
Yeah.
discovery
Actually,
queue.
shit, yeah, what am I doing? It's like I'm training AI to
Yeah.
replace me. Sorry. No, don't
You're
do that.
outsourcing us.
It's
No.
I just wanted to say or ask you, Amanda. I just noticed in the show notes this one line you wrote that really stands out. It
okay.
says, "If your dog is obnoxious, then why public?"
Then why public?
Yeah. So, all right, I'll talk about that. That's a one little story I have. When my partner and I went camping as a part of my birthday. He also was finishing up a project, and like we kind of had a big, huge, like celebratory weekend. And
Mhm.
we camped at this place we've never been to before. It was probably one of the biggest campgrounds we've ever camped at. And yet it was beautiful. It was very cold and very rainy. Like I woke up Sunday morning to it snowing, and I think that might be a first for us with camping, but it was nice and cozy. The only thing that really sucked about there being so many people, was that, like, kitty corner to us was this group, and every time anything moved, there was, like, a small dog. I never even got to see truly the dog because it was always hidden away, that was
Oh, you know it was
screaming
under, like,
bloody.
5 blankets and it's spoiled.
Yeah, and
Whenever there's a
yeah,
fucking annoying dog, I see
it
them in, like, a stroller, I'm like, "You
yes.
fuck. You fucking"
This dog was screaming like bloody murder. Like when you think of the sounds of like something attacking something, like it was screaming every single time somebody moved and walked. Like it was so obnoxious, you know? And it man, it just made me think like one, how did that dog get there to that point, right? Like clearly nobody has told that dog no. And then two, man, if you know your dog is going to be that obnoxious, why the fuck would you stay in the most central part where there's going to be tons of dogs and people walking around? So it's just like, I don't know. I feel like if you can't behave in public, you get no public. No public for you.
No Publix for that pup.
No
Yeah,
public for
no,
that pup. Yeah, it might be a little
I like that.
controversial, but dude, and it's also like camping and fine, whatever. But it's just it reminds me of like it brought me so much to like the kind of people that walk around and like never have their dog on a leash and then like,
Ugh.
fight. Yeah, like it's
Or
just
take them into grocery stores.
cause they want to. Yeah,
Mm.
probably in a little
Yeah.
stroller and it probably screams bloody murder at people, but
One
I
of
don't
the
know.
best parts of dog owners is that they leave them outside of stores when they go in, so that when you're outside, you have like a private moment, like you can kind of gauge the
Yeah.
dog. I mean, I know you're not supposed to go up and like pet the dog, but like you have at least a one-to-one moment with them. You look at the dog looks at you, and you're like, ah, that's what it must be like to own a dog. And then you go about your business.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
No,
instead
what
this dog
sucks
was
is
just screaming.
when they just decide to take their dog, even medium, larger size dogs, into the grocery store with them that are clearly not service animals, and then they jump on you and they bark and they get dog hair on the food and all around just are a menace. And I'm like, don't do that, please. Don't take your dog into the grocery store. That's not where dogs
There's one
are supposed to
store,
be.
PetSmart.
Yeah,
You're
You could
you're
do
allowed.
that.
allowed.
Go
You can
for it.
take
Yep.
them there.
Yep.
So this is a PSA. If your dog is obnoxious as fuck, then no public.
And
Then why public?
no
No public for you.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, this is a video game podcast, not a dog
dog
bragging on
hater.
podcast.
Yeah,
So
fuck
I
dogs.
don't hate dogs. It's just man, it
Hey,
was
you heard it
like
here
a
first. Amanda hates all dogs.
I do not hate dogs. I really like dogs. But it's also why I'm like, yo, maybe at 2 a.m. your dog shouldn't be screaming bloody murder and waking up the entire campground because somebody had to pee. Like that's obnoxious,
Yeah, yeah.
dude. Anyway, what video games did we play this week, guys? Taylor, let's start with you.
All right, yeah. So I didn't play just one video game this week. I
Ooh,
played a variety of video games. I am
Ooh.
talking about daily games.
nice.
And
Okay. He's back, Amanda, with his charcuterie board.
I
He
was gonna
has
say it's a
a display.
charcuterie game.
Would you find co-hosts enjoy a selection of my best 4 daily
my best
games?
daily games. I recommend a nice Malbec to go with it.
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh, yeah,
Um,
relaxing. Yeah, I could
But
have one.
yeah, so I've got 4 daily games that I personally play daily to talk about, and I'm also wanting to ask the question: do daily games like these count as "quote unquote" real games? So let's get into it. The daily games that I play are Wordle, Global, Connections, and At War. And I'll get into each one a little bit more for those of you who aren't familiar with these games. Wordle, I feel like, is the most popular one. It is a 5-letter word guessing game. So you have 5 chances to guess what the word is, and so you type in a guess, and it will tell you if the letters you picked are in the word or not. So I always start with the word tread, TREAD, and then it'll tell me, oh, like R is part of whatever the answer is. So
My
then I'll
starting
know
word is quest, which there's a
quest.
site that tells you the best starting words, and it's
Hmm.
very close to the bottom. But I don't care
The
because one day it's going to be quest in one
apparently
word.
the best is a Jew.
A Jew,
A
A Jew.
Jew.
a
Um,
Jew.
and that was my question: was what are your starting words? Yours is quest, Amanda. Do you have one?
Hmm.
Ooh, with four O's.
No, mine would probably be nose, like
Okay,
Knows.
Oh,
got
yep,
it.
got
To
it.
Oh,
see,
that's a
And
good
yeah.
one.
This
real
reminds
quick
me
on the
so
Wordle.
much as a kid playing the game Hangman. If you guys ever played that,
Oh, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Hangman?
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like you draw a little. I mean, it's a little dark, I guess, looking back on it. But hey, you grow up in darkness. Anyway, there's like a little. You draw a little like scaffold, with a little noose, and then you draw basically lines where the word's supposed to be, and you have to guess it. And if you get it wrong, then you start drawing a person, and you lose if the person is full.
Oh,
Otherwise, you kind of unlock some of the
Is it?
words.
Wait, is it fucked up that we all played Hangman? I feel like
yeah.
that. I feel like that's we don't hang people
That
anymore.
sounds like a
Mostly.
game that would have been popular in like the 1930s when stuff
Yeah,
like
or
that
even like
You
was.
know,
the 1700s to like teach
Yeah.
kids literacy. The printing press is here, folks, and now it's
I'm
time.
in my
All right,
Renaissance
we're
era.
gonna
All
play
right, anyway.
Hangman, and then you're gonna go back to factory work,
Yeah,
7-year-olds.
yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
Real
Um,
quick on Wordle, it is also the perfect icebreaker. So many people play it, and even if you don't play it, you've probably heard of it. At GDC every morning, I don't know, I could be nervous at first when I start talking to people. So that's how I would break the ice with people who were sitting to the left and right of me, wherever I was. It's like, hey, has anyone done the Wordle today? Like, I need some help on this Wordle. And I'd show them my phone, and then everyone would collaborate and be like, oh, it's stink. Ha ha.
That's genius, actually. Now you
yeah,
guys are making me think
that's
I
really
need to be playing
smart.
Wordle every day. Yeah.
You do, you
Yeah,
do,
I
and
should.
in fact, in the Discord, we play Wordle daily, and we are on like a long streak. Like we're up to like 275 straight days of
Of
winning.
Wordle.
Hell
Yeah.
yeah.
So get in on that. Um, just a little tip for those of you who may decide to start playing it now. Always guess vowels first. Make sure you get vowels in there because that will radically help narrow down the possibilities.
That's a little Taylor tip, a
Little
Taylor
TT,
tip.
Taylor
if you will.
tip. Do your
Um,
AEIOUs or your
the
ooh.
next game that I
Sometimes why?
enjoy
Sometimes why?
playing every day is Globle, Globle. It's a country guessing game. So you get a globe and you type in a country name. My first guess is always Ukraine.
Why wouldn't it be California? I'm just joking. I'm joking.
And what it will do is tell you how far away your guess is from the answer country
Like in
In glorious
distance?
kilometers, I will say, in
in
distance. Yeah.
in kilometers,
Nice.
but you can make it be miles as well.
But you shouldn't, or you should consider not.
I have it be miles.
Okay. Eh,
I know it's not the best, but we all have our faults.
He's just meters away from the
But
truth. Anyway.
nope. Nope.
Anyway, Global, which Christian is actually the person who introduced this game to me, it's a wonderful way to learn geography. And I always try not to cheat. I consider cheating when you look at a map.
Yeah. Yep.
So the goal is to never look at the map. Sometimes I will say I do.
For sure.
There are especially like some of those island nations that
Dude,
are, oh my gosh,
the other day I guessed Palau without looking at a map, and I was like, I am getting better. Like I would
yeah.
used to not be able to do this for sure.
No, I've
Yeah.
gotten so much better at it over the last, what, it's been about a year and a half of playing this
Yeah.
game. And I've gotten so much better, not just at knowing the country names and the geography, but also the estimating distance.
Can I show you
Um,
something, Taylor?
yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you my notebook here, and I don't know if it's gonna. Oh, it's backwards. But I start every day with the puzzles, and I write out the answers to the Wordle, the Global, and the Capital
Uh-huh.
of the day. And this notebook is almost finished. It's so I have a year of Global in here, basically.
Wow. I love that you keep
That's
track of it.
awesome.
That's so
Yeah.
great.
On February 17th, it was Central African Republic. On January 23rd, it was the Dominican Republic. Wow. What are the chances? Two
Yeah.
republics. Yeah. Anyways, I'm not going to keep going because that would be annoying, but
That's
it's
awesome,
I
though, that
love
you
that
have
you do
that.
that though. Yeah, that maybe I should start doing that. That's kind of fun.
It
really
Would
is
be a
fun.
great
fun.
way to also start journaling more as well, which is something I need to do. But as Christian also was talking about, there is a capitals version of global as well, where you are um, instead of guessing the country, you're guessing the capital of the country.
Mm.
And this is a much more difficult version of the game because knowing the capitals of all 207 countries in the world is,
It's a
I mean,
lot.
it's a lot.
So knowing the capitals is more difficult, but guessing the countries, we're getting right into the global and capital. But in global, it just gives you a number, 6,000 kilometers. And you're
Hmm.
like, but in capitals, it has a little jet airplane tail that
Right.
flies to where your guess is. And then it colors in the distance between them from blue to
Like,
red.
yeah, hot
See,
and cold.
so often I'll guess something really far away so I can like
So you can see
triangulate.
where the red part
Hmm.
is on the.
Yeah. Like I went to Wellington, New Zealand, I think today or
Mhm.
maybe yesterday, and then I got Bahrain in the middle, whatever the capital of Bahrain is. It Abu Dhabi,
No.
whatever it is, something Bahrain City.
Yeah.
Okay, and just because it was flying. Oh, anyways, so that's so
That's
it
a
could be
little hint.
easier.
That's a Christian hint
It's a
That's
Christian
Christian.
instead of
hint.
a tailored tip.
That's a CT. That's a CT and a TT all in
There we
one
go.
segment.
But yeah, so it's a little bit more difficult. They do give you a better hint system, like Christian was just talking about. And again, it's a great way to learn the capitals of countries. A lot of times you might be surprised that the quote unquote most famous city or biggest city in a country is not always the capital.
Yeah.
So
What's up with
um,
Sydney? Very confusing.
exactly. That one's confusing, but be prepared if you decide to get into the Capitals game. I do recommend it. Next up is Connections, a New York Times game where you are given 12 words that fit into four categories that are arranged by difficulty. Um, and some of these categories are like extremely devious or like the words can be very tenuously connected and it's really hard to make those connections and you only get four chances before you lose and fail the game.
The worst ones are like, oh, soy sauce brands with the last letter switched to a random
Yeah,
other letter. You're like, what? You're like,
that's
that's
like one of the purple categories. Yeah, and
What?
it's
yeah.
just like what are you talking about? That who came up with this?
Someone who's very
um
evil. Yeah.
But normally there's a pretty easy category that you'll be able to guess on your own pretty quick. And then they get a little bit more difficult from there. And then generally the hardest one is like totally off the wall where you it's so specific that unless you had a hint, you're unlikely to get it. But by that point you can use process of elimination generally to get it.
Do you guys
Um,
watch Hank Green at all?
no.
No.
So Hank Green, first of all, makes great videos. Like they're usually 15, 14 minutes. He just sits at his computer and talks to you. And somehow it's super entertaining. But at the end of most of his videos, he does connections and he does the purple first. He goes from
Ah.
hardest to easiest. And he's doing it like there's no editing that I can tell. And
Mhm.
so And he talks out loud, of course. It's very
Goes
satisfying to
through this
see
thought process.
someone else's brain work. And yeah, so if you do play Connections, check out a Hank Green video and be humbled, basically, I guess, because yeah.
Very
But
cool.
anyway, Connections is a lot of fun. It's another game that we often share with each other in the Discord. Um, so if you want to join us there, feel free. Um, but it's a fantastic way of learning the meanings of words, alternate meanings of words, or even new words altogether. So it's a great way to start the day. And then the last game I want to talk about is not necessarily a daily game, but it kind of fits At War. You may have heard Christian talk about this game previously on the show. It's a risk like strategy game with asynchronous turns. So a lot of the time, it's customizable, but you can set it so that way everyone has 24 hours to take a turn or 48 hours to take a turn. And so, in that regard, it is like a daily game because you're only taking one turn a day.
If you're
But
like me and bad, it's like a 6 times a day.
but essentially you recruit various units from your cities, and the type of units you can recruit will depend on where your city is located and what faction that you are. And you move these units across the map to go and capture other cities. And it's a multiplayer game, so there will be other human players that you're competing against. And the goal is generally to capture and hold the enemy's capital cities to knock them out of the game. But what's really cool about this is that it's not just like one map. There are a ton of scenarios, including fantasy ones like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I played
Uh,
a Battle of Helm's Deep one the other day. Like to go from a strategy map to a battle. It's the same exact concept.
yeah.
Like the wall positions are quote unquote nations as they
Mhm.
would be, and you send your guys out. You make little fortification lines. It's very fun.
It's so fun. And there's also uh, some diplomacy features in the game, so you can create alliances with other players, or as any good risk player does, you can stab them in the back when they are least expecting it, which is always satisfying. Like you make an alliance with the guy who's clearly in the strongest position right now, and once they commit most of their forces to a war on the other side of the continent, that's when you go and sneak down to their capital and seize it, and it's just like, yeah.
So what
Another
I've
Taylor
noticed with
tip.
that, another TT. What I've noticed with this game is the community is quite small because this game has been going on for so long. I feel like at least like 15 years or something. I remember playing this game right out of high school, and because it's so small, what you do in one game affects the next game. So if you
Hmm.
do betray someone, I'll often see the same people
Yeah, you can
in
get a
different games.
reputation.
Yeah, like, oh, that fucker is a backstabber. Never trust him,
Hmm.
which won't serve you in the long game. I would have to say, you're not always going to have a very strong position. So
It's true. You gotta
careful,
you got
Taylor.
gotta be careful.
Yep.
But it is crazy fun, super addictive. Oftentimes, I feel like the next turn cannot come soon enough, and what I end up doing is just starting another game or another
Yep.
separate game, so then I'll have like 4 or 5 of them going at once.
Yeah, I had to put the
So,
brakes on it
yeah.
for that exact reason. I was like, I think I need to stop at war. One game is good. Just
Hmm.
say no, brain.
What I found
You can
myself
wait.
doing too is like I would play on my phone. Although
Mm.
the mobile experience has turned to trash, I don't recommend it currently. But I would play on my phone and sit on my front porch and have a cigarette while I was planning my turns. And once I had like 6 or 7 games going at once, found myself just sitting out there like chain smoking cigarettes doing my at-war turn. And I realized this is not healthy, Taylor. You need to quit doing
Yeah.
this.
It's
Especially 'cause
stressful
the
being a war
cigarettes are
general,
involved.
dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's just like, oh,
So,
just dedicated all these
um,
troops to this war, and some guy stabbed me in the
Fucking
back.
Mordor betrayed Barad-dûr, bro. That fucking sucks.
I need to recruit. I don't know. Let's see, like 5 cavalry units. I'm gonna get a troop ship so I can sail across the ocean. Puff, 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 puff. All right.
Yeah.
But set some defensive lines around my city, and yeah. But overall, my point is that these daily games are often a great thing to do in the morning to get your brain going for the day, get it working. They're often fun to talk to your friends about, like Christian mentioned, as an icebreaker to people you don't know, or just to chat with your friends about the day's Wordle or the day's Global. And they also, kind of give you practice at certain skills, even if the skills aren't super useful. But there are other guessing games along these lines, like there's one for video games or movies. But what I'd really like to see is someone come up with some totally new concepts that aren't these guessing games. I'd like to see more daily games that break the mold. So that's something I hope to see in the future.
Cool. Yeah. Do you play any daily games, Amanda?
Not truly. I think that what I do that is daily is Google Translate, like the app itself on your phone came out with a new beta feature, which there's definitely lots of back and forth controversies and good and bad when it comes to AI. I think one of the cool things and the good things that's working is Google Translate now has this new like AI beta daily practice thing. So what it is that basically you have a conversation with AI in an entirely new language. They'll give you some suggestions. You actually talk back to it. It sounds almost like a real person. Pronunciation is correct. And so I every day I try and do a little bit of that with Spanish and with French. And there's also like listening and reading kind of things that you can do as well too. And this is all just off of your Translate app. It's like what Duolingo used to be before Duolingo got crazy. But this whole
Oh,
AI conversational partner thing is new and really awesome. And I haven't actually seen that anywhere where you feel like you're actually having a conversation with a person in a different language. So
That is pretty cool.
that's
Yeah.
mhm.
awesome. And
Nice.
that
Maybe
could
I
definitely
should.
be gamified.
Yeah. It kind of is. They show you little streaks and stuff, and you get the little, dopamine hits, like, "Yeah, good
Yeah.
job." And you have to, like,
Or if it's
achieve 3 of
Duolingo, it
them.
could be crackified. And then they're like,
Well,
hey,
that's
don't ignore Duo. And then he's on your home screen perishing. Like
Duo
he,
is a menace, dude.
yeah, Duo is
yeah,
a menace. No, if
he's
you
poking at his plate of supper and it's just like 3 peas. And he's like, why won't you feed me? And you're like, what?
feed me lessons,
You
but
seen the
no.
one where he burns down your house
Yeah. I thought it was his
No.
house.
or
Oh,
his
damn.
house?
Yeah. He goes to extremes. Kind
Yeah.
of an abusive partner.
Yeah,
In a
nothing
way.
like guilt, dude. Dang. No,
Yeah.
these daily games are supposed to be fun. I think I'm gonna add Wordle and Global to mine though. I like that a lot. That's really cool. And At
Nice.
War, I need to get off of the phone with it. I've only ever experienced At War on my phone, and it was
Oh,
Oh,
with
play
me.
that's
it on
horrible.
PC. It's
Yeah,
so
and I
bad
was
Jesus.
on
I
the
was sitting
phone.
there like, why can't I do anything? And then Christian was DMing
Yeah.
me like, hey, just so you know, you've got a few more hours, and then like we move on to the next thing. And I'm like,
No,
yeah, I thought I did
it's
something,
so
and then
hard to
nothing happens,
click
and I
on
die. Yeah.
things and to move properly.
It's a
You must
browser
play on the
browser
browser.
experience.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
PC browser.
Well,
Yeah.
then I need to
They
give that
need to
another
make a
shot.
mobile app
Yeah.
that actually works, but in the meantime, yeah,
I was
play on the
like, I'm
computer.
having fun, but I am like beyond bad. Like, but that makes sense that if the mobile app's just busted, because I'm like, I don't know, I'm laying in my bed, like I don't know what I'm doing wrong. But anyway.
Oh, it all makes sense now why your turns were. I was like, she just moved 8 units in the middle of nowhere and then
Right.
they just got obliterated. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Goofy.
So this week, like I talked about earlier, I played Exit 8 after watching the movie. And I guess my point with this is sometimes something in universe is so good that everything else in that universe feels bad. Like something has raised the bar. I think typical thing would be like Andor. Like Andor has raised the bar for Star Wars so high that if additional Star Wars TV shows come out, that's the stick I'll be measuring with. And that's a long stick. That's a couple meter stick, right? Like
Hmm.
the first season of The Mandalorian is probably the best one. It isn't making it on. Ahsoka, that's like a negative meter stick. Like I don't know. Like
Yeah.
not that they're bad shows necessarily, but in comparison to Andor, they just don't scratch the same itch. And
I'd
so
say it's a bad show.
okay, sounds good. Uh yeah, I didn't like it either. I didn't like Ahsoka. Uh, God, I don't even want to. It's like bringing up stressful memories for me. So you are in Exit 8, you are trapped in an endless underground passageway. Observe your surroundings carefully to reach the Exit 8. So I had to play this after watching the movie. Uh, the premise of the game is you go down this hallway and you try and spot if there's any anomalies since the last time you've been there. If you see an anomaly, you turn back, you run backwards. Then it gets you to the next level. If you don't see an anomaly, you continue forward. If you guess wrong, you go back to level 0. And when you do 8 levels in a row, you can exit the contraption that you're in, wherever you are, this hell purgatory place, and you win the game. So the movie had like a story, like such a compelling storyline to this process that I thought, oh, maybe I'm going to get something of that. Also, the movie was really suspenseful and thrillery, and this game just isn't. It's just like,
Really?
yeah. Well, there are moments that I guess are a little bit more spooky, but at no time was I like scared at all. I was
Not
like,
on the edge
oh,
of your seat.
no, I heard something happen that didn't happen last time I was there, and immediately I turned around and went the other direction because
Oh,
because
yeah.
I'm trying to beat the game, right?
Right.
I'm not trying to be scared. There was nothing like that jumped out at me, and so
Okay.
uh, I had already some of this is probably I'd already seen a lot of anomalies from the movie, so I was like, oh, that's from the movie. That's an anomaly. Head back. Oh, that's an anomaly. Head back. And other stuff is just so obvious, like a monster at the end of the hallway that chases you. Like, oh, that wasn't there before. That probably is an anomaly. So I beat the game in 15 minutes, and I was like, I'm so sad that I didn't play the game before the movie because that was definitely the correct order to do this in.
Right.
The movie has raised the bar. You need to watch Star Wars Episode 3 before you watch Andor because if you go the other way, it's not going to be a good
You're gonna
time.
get disappointed.
You have to watch Episode 1 when you're 11 years old because if you don't, it's not going to be a good time.
You have to
Right?
read
There's
all the
order
books
to
before you
things.
watch any of the movies. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe actually, if the movie, well, whatever, that's debatable. But I just wanted to ask you guys if there's something so good in a universe that you love that everything else that you would have loved or could have loved uh, is just bad. You're like, oh, that's now a miss. That's now ranked lower on my list.
Oh, that's a fantastic question.
I want to say no in a way for me. I don't know. I guess in a sense, like I'm gluttonous and that I enjoy seeing all the different variations of stuff. But like, sure, some things I'll rank higher than others. But like, let's continue with the conversation of like Star Wars, right? Because I've seen all of that too.
Mm.
Like, I didn't hate Ahsoka. I thought it was fine. It's not as good as, Andor, sure, but it wasn't like I was so bummed, like, I enjoyed watching it as well too. Like, I
Right.
just am happy to see all of this stuff, especially when we're talking about anything that's kind of, like, nerdy, because I think that they'd really
Hmm.
just have their valuable place, and it like, fan fiction, like, it's just a different perspective, so I'm not really upset about it.
So you're telling me when Thrawn came up there, was supposed to be the greatest military mastermind in the universe, and he hatches a plan that is objectively one of the worst things I've seen play out on screen. You weren't like, oh,
Hey,
that's
hey, even Jesus has had bad days, okay? Alright?
Wow. Thrawn doesn't have bad
bad.
days.
Yeah, that's where you're wrong. Okay, Thrawn. Yeah, yeah.
No, I just
No.
like I said, I think I mean, is it as good as and or no, right? Like, but that's to me, these kind of comparisons almost feel like I don't really want to say like splitting hairs because there's a bigger difference between them, but they're not. One is not going to discredit the other to me in a way. Like,
See, I've definitely experienced that. Like in particular, for me, it happens most often with a book translated to the screen, where having read the book, I then see an adaptation and it's disappointing. Uh, kind of the opposite of what Christian experienced with this game, with the movie being better than the source. But that's definitely happened in particular, like with an anime show where I read like the light novels that it was based on, and then I watched the adaptation, and it's terribly animated. They cut a bunch of stuff. It's super boring, low budget, and it's just like this is trash now. Like this lowers my opinion of the whole thing at this point.
but I
Yeah.
I would argue, dude, who's that burning? Like, that's burning you. Like, they made their money, they're doing their
Yeah.
thing. Like,
It's
there are
When
plenty
burning
of
me, but
people.
Franz,
it's
when
burning all the fans.
when the infantry, when the army was inside of the Star Destroyers, I thought this, you're right. Who is this hurting? Me, deeply. Deeply, it's hurting me.
Yeah. And it's
That is
supposed to
my
be
point.
enjoyable. So
Well,
it's extra bad when it's something that's supposed to be good and fun and it hurts.
man,
Yeah.
comparison is truly the thief of joy, though, dude. Because like, okay, I'll give like a
No, but
personal
some of these
example.
things, even without having seen the source material, it objectively sucks. No comparison needed.
Mm.
Mm, I don't know. I still feel like, in a way, it's important to be honest in criticisms of things, right? Because it's your opinion. You absolutely should be bringing it up, especially of how disappointing it might have made you feel. But in a way, I would still rather see it than it not be done at all because somebody's trying to perfect it. Like, I feel this deeply with, like, the Wheel of Time series. The Wheel of Time
Yeah, but
series is really important to me, and it's one
Oh,
that I've read the books, all of them, and then the show was absolute ass in comparison to the books.
well, let's
However,
let's be let's be clear. Well, I'm not going after the actor who played Jar Jar Binks. Like, I'm not angry at any specific person for trying and doing their best and for trying to bring something to me. I think that's magical. But I just don't enjoy it when something in the universe has been done so much better.
right.
That is the bar. That's the new bar, right? So that's how it is for me. In my
Also,
brain.
I do take issue when something is made at not because everyone's trying to do their best and make something great and maybe not succeeding, but when they are making an obvious cash grab, low effort cash grab that wasn't even meant to be good. Like they weren't trying to make it good. Like that's offensive to me as well. It's like insulting to my intelligence.
what
Yeah.
which one are you talking about? That's specific. You
Yeah.
got an
Who hurt
IP
you?
in your head when you say that?
There's a particular anime called The Beginning After the End. And it just was obviously made to be a shitty cash grab, um, base compared to the books, which were compelling.
Hmm.
Yeah. It's yeah, I would struggle to say. I think in the world of art that's pretty rare, but I do think it happens more often than not that someone misses, that
Hmm.
someone takes a chance, or maybe they didn't have the resources they needed to execute on
Yeah,
it well.
if it's
I
just
think
a
of
miss,
like
that's fine. I can live with that.
David Lynch's Dune is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Huh.
And ain't that a guy who took a shot and probably missed? But what was delivered, I thought was at least really interesting. And
Hmm.
you could tell by like the set design and the amount of money they spent on it that it wasn't intentionally bad, but
No.
perhaps they just didn't have the technology or the talent or whatever they needed to deliver on what was in the books. So yeah.
Yeah,
Anyways,
that's
sorry.
totally fair.
We're maybe it's time to exit on exit 8. Play this game before you watch the movie, and then watch the movie. And that's my CT for this section, okay?
All right.
Amanda, what did you play this week?
Well, this week I have, and sorry, my camera seems to be putting me back into a Renaissance painting and blurry a little bit. Just kidding. It's super detailed in a Renaissance painting. Anyway, sorry. I was playing Four Last Things. It's this game that is a point and click adventure where you're literally in old Renaissance paintings. The
Hmm.
artist featured in this game is Hieronymus Bosch. Probably the biggest one is him. And then there's Peter Bruegel the Elder, Jen Van Eyck, and Francisco Goya, and Jacob Van Utrecht. Don't come for me if I mispronounce any of these guys.
Yeah,
I am
Dutch
not
people.
from the 1500s, but yes, it focuses on Dutch Renaissance painters. And this game is a garden of earthly delights. And if you're
Huh?
familiar with that painting, that actually is one of my all-time favorite paintings. Right away when
Hmm.
this game starts, it's like you're in that painting, and right away I clocked it. There's like this one building, I get fountain, I suppose I'd say, because if you're familiar with this kind of painting, especially the Garden of Earthly Delights and Hieronymus Bosch, there he does these like trifold things and a lot of stuff to showcase three different scenes. It's very religious. There's tons of, just at the time, like the 1500s was really right before and right at the like scientific revolution kind of thing, where there's this huge clash between religion and this religious dominance of how you should behave, how life is, and a ton of like, you know, what is it? The fire and brimstone kind of thing, where there's a ton of fear of deadly sins and dying, Dante's Inferno. This kind of time is what you're thinking of. And then there's like a rise of science. And so there's this whole clash kind of going on culturally, and it shows especially in a lot of the paintings. And Hieronymus Bosch is like super unique in the sense that I think they called him like the master of grotesque, because he just creates these crazy things like an armadillo slicing through a person in hell, or like a bird creature eating a bunch of people. They have in the Garden of Earthly Delights like this big fountain and a bunch of people just partying basically, and you can see if you zoom in, it's like the original zoom in to see a million pictures kind of thing. If you look in, you'll see all kinds of crazy scenes, like I don't know, like 20 people trying to cram into a little tiny egg, or like all these people trying to eat like a berry. It is crazy. It looks like, I remember when I first saw this, I was like, who was on acid when they drew this?
Right.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Like
And
this trippy painting.
it's trippy
Well,
painting, and I
Dutch
would
people and their
say,
drugs, dude. Come
dude,
on.
for real. And so somebody, I think his name is Joe Richardson, created this game where you're living in these paintings. He literally took these paintings and put it in there. And the whole point of the story is basically you are kind of like this hobo who is at the church who's asking for forgiveness. But because you committed sins in different cities, the Pope and the bishops say that you're not really in their jurisdiction to forgive you. So the way that you can do a loophole with that is if you commit all 7 deadly sins here in this city right now. So the whole point of the game is to try and commit 7 deadly sins by interacting and finding this adventure of people. And meanwhile, like every single scene has somebody playing classical music. They have like 8 or 9 different classical music songs that are going on while you're walking through, and there's only one scene in the entire game where there's no music. And that is incredibly important, and I'm not spoiling it because guys, this game is like an hour and a half long. Like there's no reason to not, and it's
When you
Steam
say
verified, Steam
classical
Deck.
music, when you say classical music, we're not talking about like Beethoven. Like that's 300 years later. We're talking about like lyre and,
Yes.
like
Yes.
going from
Pipes.
castle,
Yeah.
Yes.
castle to castle and playing for the king. Like
Yeah.
we're in that sort of era. Yeah.
Like I walked into the constable's whatever thing where they have all the mail and all the city clerks and everything, and there's some dude just sitting there going to town on the flute, just playing some flute tunes, and I'm like,
Sick
it's just
flute, bro.
sick flute. But that's the thing that's cool about this game too, is that, you know, they are obviously in a very old 1500s kind of like setting, but the writing is very modern. And I think it hits and miss in this game actually. Sometimes there's been really funny moments, especially when it's more focused on a fourth wall breaking. Like there's this moment where you walk into a building and there's a ton of people dancing and there's a lawyer and the lawyer's going through stuff and you're like, "Oh, hey, as a lawyer, can I ask you legal advice?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure. What do you need?" And you ask them, "What's the legality of using old Renaissance artwork? Is there any plagiarism or copyright laws that would be
Oh,
against it?" And I'm like,
just
"Dude, that's
breaking the fourth
funny. Like,
wall.
that's pretty funny." And then there's another one where there's this like tiny little baby dancing, and it's like, from the old era. So it's the butt naked dancing. And in this game, you have only three options of interaction with everything. You can either look at it and it gives you a describer, which for the music and the musicians, it actually tells you what song they're playing, which is cool because if you like it, then you could just look it up. Or the artists and stuff, that as well. And then there is the like touch, it's like a hand, and it's a whole mix. If you select the hand for a musician, your guy starts clapping. If you select a hand for like a drunk person, you slap them in the face. If you select a hand for somebody where you could steal, you steal stuff. And if you shouldn't be touching them, it like says something. It says like, "Oh, well, they're very busy right now. You don't want to disturb them," or something like that. For the baby though, when you select the hand, it goes, "This is a reputable game. We will not be touching any babies." So the writing, the modern kind of writing and this juxtaposition of these old-timey vibes is just really funny, but sometimes I don't think it landed. I felt like it tried a little too hard. Like, there's a moment
Mm.
Mm.
where you're talking to a drunkard and you give him more beer, and he goes, "I have to make a piss," which, fine, that could be funny, but then when he walks away, your character just goes, "Legend." I'm like, I don't that slang already feels dated, right? So, like,
Right.
it doesn't land. So there has been some
Feels
moments.
2010s.
Yeah, so there has been some moments or, like, you go to do, like, a pie eating contest, and when you say that you don't wanna do it, the guy goes, "Oh, chicken, bark, 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 bark," and I'm like, that's not really as funny as it could have
But
been."
but I feel like you're referencing two things that they might have actually said back then. Have you ever heard a British person say legend, like, so sarcastically? I feel like that's been around
Hmm.
for thousands of
Legend.
years.
Maybe yeah, actually,
And
maybe I
chicken bok
just
bok, that's probably one of the first insults someone has thrown at someone else.
Alright, that's a fair point, that's a fair point.
I
Maybe
feel
I just didn't get it. Yeah, I just didn't get it.
Fucking legend, bruh.
Fucking
legend.
legend.
Oh, legend.
But
Legendary. Uh, Day one, we domesticate fowl and lay eggs. And day two, Buddy tells his other buddy, "Bark,
legend.
bark, you're a chicken."
Yeah.
Bok bok, you're a chicken.
Bok, bok.
Yeah,
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 I mean, I think
Not
the
all the jokes are landing, is
No.
what you're
yeah.
getting
Not
at.
all the
Yeah,
jokes.
I don't think all the jokes are landing, but I do think enough do. And when they don't, I think that the fourth wall, like introspective writing on it, like nails it as well. This game is honestly a treat. I got it during the sale when it was like $4. So worth it. It's overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and I think it's absolutely worth it. It's whimsy, it's funny, it's self-reflective, it's very religious, which is a reflection of the time, right? But I do think that they kind of actually dance the line of mentioning it, in a I don't wanna say tasteful, but, like, in a, like a healthy dose of criticism kind of way. Because back in the day, especially in medieval times, the religious ruling was done to kind of an extreme, right? And so, like,
Mhm.
kind of ridiculous, and they do touch on that, they do reflect on that, and it's just really interesting. I haven't seen too many games that I think actually cover so much of a religious theme and do it really well and kind of dance this line of taking a more realistic look at it while also still very much staying in that kind of mindset, right? Like the whole game, the last four things, do you wanna make you guys go to Bible school for a second here, but do you happen to know what that reference is? Like why it's called the last four things? Or why it would be called that in a religious, like, medieval game?
The last four
The
things in a
last four things.
Is
Or
it the
what
last four
are the
things?
last four things?
Is it the last four things Jesus did before he ascended to heaven? No, that would probably be
The
three.
last four things that.
Uh,
No, I don't know.
yeah, sorry. I
So
feel like I should know.
well, in Christianity itself, the last 4 things are death, judgment, heaven, and hell, and it's supposed to be the last stages of your soul in life and in the afterlife. In the game and in the, paintings, there literally is, like, a painting from Hieronymus Bosch that is the 7 deadly sins and the last 4 things, and it's like this wheel, and the wheel is the 7 deadly sins and paintings of them, and in the corners of this painting are the last 4 things, and
Ah,
so the whole game actually kind of is focused on that. So once you, like, unlock a deadly sin, it rolls that wheel, that exact wheel that he painted, it rolls it, and then it lands on whatever sin you actually committed, which I thought was super cool and kind of a neat way for
so
them to
you're
kinda
going
do that.
around purposely committing the
Yes.
sins so that way you can be forgiven by the local clergy because the sins you committed in another town aren't under their jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's literally what they said, which,
Such a
is
great concept,
hilarious
by the
and
way.
such a great concept and really
Yeah.
kinda
I
goes
love
to
the
show
idea
the
that
goofiness.
like the clergy has a jurisdiction. Like you can
I
commit something, some offense for your immortal soul, and they're just like, it happened 2 towns over. Can't help you, bro.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's very close to
yeah.
what they were saying, which is just, like,
My
so
my
funny.
jurisdiction is all of heaven and hell and purgatory, but specifically the town and city of Utrecht.
Yeah.
And if you're in Amsterdam, that is just too far for
Yeah.
me.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
Sorry, we have it's like a local union thing. The hours don't line up, or it's like 2 florin over here, 7 florin.
It was yeah, it was very much like that and even funnier because like, one guy was like, "Well, does he know about the" and the guy's like, Shut up, don't tell him about the loophole," and then you go, "Loophole? What's the loophole?" And they go, "Ah, damn it, yeah, alright, well, the loophole is you have to commit the 7 deadly sins, and then we can absolve you of all of it." So, it's a very
Solid.
fun game, I think
I
it's
also
incredibly
love,
worth it.
getting encouraged to commit the 7 deadly sins by clergy
Yeah.
What
members.
I love, did a naughty, looked at this page as we were getting ready for the show and noticed that I think they made this one in 2014. They made 2 other games since then. One of them is The Road to Calvary, which is, Jesus's journey up the mountain. And I thought immediately I want to play it because, of course, I grew up in a very religious environment and I'm drawn to these things. What I like about this game for you, Amanda, is your interest in art and art history and how that must have felt going through all these paintings, having just like a direct link to somewhere in the back of your brain that maybe I certainly wouldn't have with that part of it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, I went into this game relatively blind when there was the, sale that was going on. I saw that it was Steam Deck approved, I saw that it was still in Renaissance paintings, and it was a point and click adventure, and I was like, "Done," and that's it. And then when I loaded it up and I instantly noticed the fountain from the, Garden of Earthly Delights, I lost my shit. I was like, "I didn't know that this is gonna be a game in one of my like, I had that painting on my wall for years, I, like, studied the
That's
shit
so
out of that
cool.
painting, because I also
Yeah.
grew up in a very religious, like, household
It's
as
like
well, and I
you
loved
launch it
that
and it's just
painting.
like an aux cord to the back of your brain. It's just
Yeah.
like a
Oh
perfect
man, the
fit.
I was
perfect
like, "This
game
is
for Amanda.
wonderful." Yeah, it
Yeah.
was really, really fantastic, and yeah, it really kinda made me think, like, how often do we have these, I don't know, like, major like, is there a place for major religions in video games? Can they be done well? And I do feel like this one was actually done really well with Christianity, especially kinda focusing on that side. But what are your guys' thoughts with that?
I like in Crusader Kings 3 how all the different religions are portrayed. In these sim games, feels like they do a pretty good job of giving stats to different normal things in life, like ways of belief or personality traits, like being an honorable person would gain you these sort of stats, and or being cowardly, etc. And I think understanding why the Catholic Church had a schism in the first place and why it became less popular and the control it wanted to exert over people and like, the Reconquista in Spain and all of it. It's very satisfying to play through that history in a simi game like this. It just gives you a little bit of maybe a better understanding. If you've read a textbook or a Wikipedia page, you'd be like, oh, okay. I I knew things I didn't know exactly before, and maybe I even understand a little bit about where they're coming from is weird, like a fucked up way to
Mhm.
think about it. But like all these people had actual motivations for doing what they were doing, right? And so, yeah, for
I also think that there are a lot of games that, while not necessarily directly referencing religion or in particularly like Christianity, that are heavily influenced by them. Since, speaking broadly, but I think a lot of Western morality is based on Christian morality, and so and lots of concepts from Christianity are carried over into the secular world. Like the seven deadly sins are don't necessarily have to be said in the context of religion, to people just understand what they are. Same with demons. Like demons appear in tons of games that aren't necessarily explicitly religious,
Mhm.
even though demons themselves are a religious concept. So I think lots of games do, pull from religion, even if they aren't straight up about religion.
Yeah.
And having some of that background knowledge can be important. Like I did not, unlike you two, grow up in a heavily religious environment, and um, have sometimes, when I was younger, struggled to understand some of those references, especially when I moved to Texas. Oh my lord, moving to Texas
oh my lord, you get the
as a teenager, and like I'd be in class in school, and like they would just say a Bible verse, like John blah blah, and everyone knew what it meant except me, and it's just like everyone was expected to know the Bible like that, and I had no clue what they were talking about, and would be constantly lost, until I got a little older and I decided to read the Bible on my own, and kind of understand that stuff. But
What's this book
um,
about from cover to cover? Why are there so many numbers?
Yeah, and contradictions. Anyway,
Yeah.
so no, the very first game I ever played in my entire life was a religious game. It was the Garden of Eden, and it was essentially the Oregon Trail, but for the origin story in Christianity. And I just would always
oh,
wait until my grandfather fell asleep, and then I would go find Doom, which was installed on the same
yep,
computer by
yep.
my older cousin, and I would just play Doom. So I can't really tell you how the Garden of Eden was because I only pretended to play it. But
Hey,
it's technically the first game.
Doom's still a
Different type of
religious
garden.
game because
Yes.
Yeah.
it's a
Lots of
cautionary
demons.
tale about what hell is like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, my
So,
grandpa would have not
and
approved of that with how young I was playing that,
Doom
but
Slayer is
it's
like a
great.
Christian superhero. I mean, he is
For sure.
killing
Yep.
demons.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Yeah. Thanks,
But
Grandpa.
thanks, Grandpa. Well, no, thank you, cousin Ryan. It was my cousin
Thanks,
that
cousin Ryan.
thank you for installing Doom. It's much older than I am, and that was pretty great. But yeah, so I mean, I highly, highly recommend Four Last Things. I thought it was really fun, really cute. Or if you are not interested, I think it's $10 right now. I would definitely get it on sale. And if you don't want to get it on sale, then go down the wormhole, man. Check out Hieronymus Bosch and like how weird of like an entire wormhole warp thing that is, and that person, and
yeah, check
honestly
out
you
his
can,
artwork.
and his artwork, it's a trip, and like literally, and actually funny enough, there's a sneaking theory that he did used to have hallucinations because of ergo, the like wheat rot that was
Oh,
happening that
yeah,
would cause
ergot.
people, yeah, ergot, that when you bake it basically turns into LSD. So maybe he did make these on acid. I don't know. It Who knows, right? But you can actually watch the entirety of Four Last Things on YouTube if you wanted to watch that too. So there's a ton of stuff out there on it if you want to check it out, but highly recommend it. Anyway, that is a monologue. So, what do we want to play, guys? Taylor, what do you want to play?
Yeah, I want to play a game called Fate Stay Night Remastered, the remastered version. This is a visual novel that spawned an entire anime franchise, um, as well as a bunch of spin off visual novels and a gotcha game. So it's a big, big franchise that's really popular. There are at least 8 different anime series that I am aware of, and there might even be more. Um, what's interesting about this setting and world is that they use real life myths and legends as characters in the stories. So, like King Arthur, Gilgamesh, Alexander the Great, Ishtar, the goddess, things like that, and they don't discriminate for only one region. They use myths and legends from and folklore from all over the world, all different cultures. And so it's really cool to see these figures all intertwined and interconnected and meet each other and how they interact.
The
And
original Marvel universe or something.
yeah, kind of. Um, and I've learned from watching some of these anime series and reading about the lore. I've learned about mythological figures that I didn't know about before. So I've actually learned history from it. Um, Plus, it's just super fun to see them battle each other and how they interact with each other. Basically, the concept is it takes place in the modern age, and these mages, quote unquote mages, summon these heroic spirits to compete over the Holy Grail, which is a magical device that will grant any wish.
I think I've
If
seen this
you,
Monty Python movie.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, if you win the Holy Grail, you can grant any wish, and the mages themselves tend to want to reach the root of all magic and become a magician, which is different than a mage. Um,
Wow, spend your whole life to try and be David Blaine? I mean,
no, so magicians can do things that are legitimately impossible. Mages can do things that are theoretically possible with physics. Like it
okay.
might take a long time or it might require technology we don't have, but humans could accomplish that at some point. Whereas magicians are doing things that are genuinely impossible, like
Break the rules
altering
and laws of the
time, yeah,
universe. Right.
breaking the
Yeah.
laws of the universe.
Wait,
Um,
that's impossible? I thought if we shot an atom around the collider fast enough, isn't that the thing?
well, no, it would still
Sad.
be within the laws of the universe.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
But anyway, it's the visual novel that spawned it all and generated this really huge world and lore. And so I'm hoping that it really expands on the anime version of it that I watched. Giving some more background lore, character development, some cutscenes, that kind of thing. Um, and hopefully it isn't too long. These things tend to be super long. But I don't know. We'll just have to see how it goes. And if I like it, then there's like a ton more of these out there. So
There's a ton more of these
these
games.
Fate games. Yeah, these
Okay.
visual novel games.
This is a
Cool.
franchise I've never heard of this. So if you end
Likewise.
up playing it, maybe you can educate us. I want to play a game called Crown of Greed. It is a kingdom builder RTS inspired by the old Majesty games, and it has sort of the same like retro, little pixely art style that comes across as like painted and beautiful.
Hmm.
Um, like in real life, you don't issue direct orders, so it's an indirect influence RTS. So, say there's a monster outside your hovel. To get your heroes to kill it, you have to put a bounty on the monster's head, and if they do it,
Oh.
then you pay your people gold. They take that gold and they go to a Fletcher in your town. They buy the bow, they buy the better bow. So you kind of create the circumstances for
Incentives.
success. Yeah, like as if you were governing a real life city or a group of people, you want to create incentives. You want to create the framework for them to succeed.
You're not
You don't,
God.
you're not God, you are mayor.
Mm.
Yeah. So there's unique units. So RPG like heroes come to you and they all have unique motivations and skills. So it's not like, build 10 grunts and now the grunts are like in my town. They all are named characters and they all sort of hang out. So I think those two things are the unique parts of this game that excite me. I love the old Majesty games. I think I still, a long time, I had the box at my parents' house for, I think, Majesty 2. Uh, the reviews for this is currently mixed, and I think you can learn more from a mixed game than a good game, right? Like, I'm excited by the unique parts of this game. I know I like
Mhm.
Majesty. I think it's around 60% positive. So there are people out there who like this game. There's people out there who don't. I think as people who play a lot of games, I just want to put this out there that if you only play the best of the best, you might be missing something. I want to suggest that there's experiences that you might be missing. It's fun to play an imperfect game as long as the imperfection isn't like a bug or a glitch, perhaps, but maybe it's just a different artistic or mechanical direction that you aren't used to. And that's like a new risk that someone is taking. So, I wanna
Yeah.
give it a whirly poo
I'm
and
excited to hear your
see what I
thoughts
think
I
on
about it.
this
think
and might
I
look at it
think
too. I loved Majesty as well. That was my like childhood RTS game that I played so much of.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think to your point, Christian, as well, that a lot of times new ideas and new things are often met with resistance and then later on become
Beloved.
beloved. And so I
Yeah.
think you're right that um, giving things that are mixed a chance often pays off. And the barrier to entry to these things can be really low. And it's like, if you really end up not having fun, just quit playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Yeah. What do you wanna play this sometime in the future?
I think I'm on a theme here because the game that I really want to play is called Fresco, and it's basically an alternating adventure action game between 3D and 2D views of Egyptian art. Basically, you're going through the
Oh, cool.
hieroglyphics and solving puzzles, and the walls will like come to life, and you're kind of jumping from being a person who is exploring a temple to being the art that's on the walls telling you the story of the temple to begin with. So I think that that's super cool. I'm very interested in that. I was really into learning about Egyptian mythology growing up, so I think that this is pretty neat and a pretty cool idea. I also obviously very much love art as well, and Christian really inspired me to channel my inner Zen with Pharaoh, so like I kind of want to keep it going, and I really hope that this has like more history and a depth of story to it. And I'm kind of wondering too if there's going to be a little bit more religion as well in it, like is this going to be like the last four things? There are four canopic jars that go into the mummification of mummies. So maybe we're going to play another game, guys, bonus game. So for four canopic jars, which are the organs that go into them that are supposed to be preserved and help in like the afterlife, and to
Uh,
prevent putrefaction of the mummy, what four organs are put into these jars?
One of them's gotta be the heart.
the lungs, I know for sure the lungs are preserved. I
Is tongue
believe
tongue one?
I agree with Christian. The heart makes sense. Um,
She can't keep her smile. It's not the heart. Abort.
not the brain, because the brain gets all jiggled up inside and
Pulled
pulled
out.
out through the
Yeah.
nose. Um, maybe the stomach and maybe the spleen or the kidneys.
My answer is the same as Taylor, except I'm gonna swap tongue for kidneys.
Okay. So you were right on the lungs and the stomach. It is the
Okay.
lungs, the liver, the stomach, and the intestines. It is
Ah.
not the
Oh.
heart because the heart was believed to be the anchor for the soul.
Oh,
So they
okay.
wanted to keep the heart in the body, which is interesting because, yeah, you would think it would be the heart, especially since so many other cultures believe that, like, the
Right.
heart is, but actually, because it's so important to the soul, they didn't want to get rid of it. So, isn't that very fun? Four
Liver makes
jars.
sense. I get the liver now. over kidneys. Like that makes sense.
What about the
Intestines, though,
intestines? Yeah.
gross,
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, you need to digest things in your afterlife, right? These were to prevent putrefaction, but yeah. And it's
yeah.
interesting that you don't need the brain, but we'll keep the intestines, But it's not your brain. Anyway, that's fun. I'm looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be really, really cool. And yeah, that's a show. So what's our community up to, guys?
Yeah, for listener questions and corrections, we didn't have any listener questions. Been a long time since we've had
I
that
know.
happen to us.
So,
So don't be afraid if you're out there. Ask us a question on this episode. Ask us a
and you
question in
can ask
Discord.
us any question you want, any type of question. It doesn't even have to be about a video game.
It could also be a comment. Like maybe we got something wrong and
Right.
you're sitting in your car and they're like, oh, they're wrong about that.
I mean,
Ahsoka was great. If you're out there,
yeah.
tell us. Yeah.
Also, like Christian and Amanda make mistakes all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point,
Yep.
Taylor. That's a good point. Yeah.
He's not wrong. He rarely is. But if he is, do let us know.
No. We all do get things
That's a good
wrong
point, Amanda.
on
That's a good point.
occasion. So, but yeah, share your opinions. It doesn't matter what. We just want to hear from you.
Mhm.
Yeah. And Taylor, what are we plugging this week?
This week, I don't have anything necessarily in particular to plug. So what I'm gonna do is plug we have a channel on our Discord for Wordle and daily games. And so since I just spent part of an episode talking about them, I want to plug that channel and encourage you to get involved and play these games with us. It's a lot of fun, like I already talked about, and we've got a number of community members in there. You might even make a new friend.
Come join our streak.
Yeah.
A new friend. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you look at that? What do you look at that?
And you'll learn icebreakers. Maybe that'll help you on your next date.
There you go. Yeah.
Opening up the date with, can you help me with the actually probably not a bad idea. Wait.
Yeah. But again, shout out to our awesome executive producer, Truthbringer. Thank you very much, Truthbringer, for bringing it each episode. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheeseburger.
And yeah, that is a show, guys. My name is Amanda, and joining us today was Christian and Taylor. Make sure you tune in next week because Christian is going to be plugging into the mainframe in Cyberpunk and really tell us all about the whole new world. And Christian,
That's so much better than what we said last week, which was Christian tits with dicks and
chicks with tits and dicks.
Well, you can do both, but you got to plug into the mainframe first. But yeah, Christian, what is playing us out this episode?
It's a medieval dance from Four Last Things, and goodbye, everyone. The drop.
Feels like tavern music.